Good evening and welcome to the City Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 12th. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Doug Mund of the Grace Fellowship Church. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for this opportunity to pray tonight. If we can please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as we come here tonight, coming to the close of the year, we pray your blessing upon us with the change coming before us, the new offices for the police and fire, the renovation for the downtown municipal building coming to a close also. Bless us as the moves are made and people move into their offices. Thank you for that, Lord, and bless them through all this work. Lord, bless the new commissioners that come on, those that leave. Be with them, Father, and just guide us as we prepare for this new year. Many difficult and important decisions to be made again, and Lord, we truly need your grace and mercy. Thank you for those who work daily for the city, oftentimes at great risk to their personal health and harm. And Lord, we lift up James Grimmett, a former employee. We pray for his health, and we pray for his family through this difficult situation, Lord. Lord, your healing touch upon him. Almighty God, we pray this in the name and character of your Son, Jesus Christ, empowered by your Holy Spirit. Amen and amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Tonight's consent agenda, the City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, November 28, 2017, and 2017 Appropriation Ordinance AO-17-23 in the amount of $2,962,137.66. Are there any questions to these consent agenda items?
No. I'd make a motion to approve that ordinance, AO 17-23.
Second.
For approval, I should add it.
The consent agenda, correct?
Yes.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye. Next item on the consent agenda is 2017 Appropriation Ordinance AO-17-23A, Iron Time Sales in the amount of $1,528.20. Are there any questions or amendments to this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve appropriation ordinance number AO-17-23A for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Abstain.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Under the public hearing, special presentation and proclamations, we'll have an update from Johnson Control on the AMI projects. Johnson Control will provide the update.
Well, thanks everybody for allowing us to come in. We just wanted to give you a brief update on kind of where we're at and what we've been doing. So, and I printed out a handout there. I'm not going to go through it slide by slide. You guys can look at it. You know, if you get sleepy or whatever, you need something to put you to bed, you can look at it. But we'll just kind of briefly, through the month of October and November, we've been busy. Yeah, and I think a lot of things going on, pushing and pulling meters out, doing meter tests. We've done a GIS audit on all the street lights as well, so marking and locating all the street lights. To date, and again, just a lot of work went into the month of November. I think Kendall and the rest of the city team can attest to that, because I think we drove them crazy over the last month or so. But the initial meter test where we kind of laid out and saw what the city wanted, we did that back, I think, in the end of November, or excuse me, end of October was the first one. November, again, was spent pulling those meters out, testing, auditing all the lights, those sorts of things. We also did the walkthroughs on all the buildings, so now we have an idea of development on what the buildings need, the lighting, and again, most of that is in your handout there. And again, probably one of the bigger things that we've done through our development process is identify each one of those streetlights, right? And actually know where those assets are. They're GIS located. Now we can pull them up on computer, basically, in Google Earth and those sort of things, and find out exactly where those assets are. So, so I'll start this month. We did on the 5th of December, we met with the team and did a lighting workshop where we looked at, the city basically chose, these are the type of street lights that we want to use in the project. Interior lights, what type of fixtures, and again, all of that is in that handout there. But basically what we're decided on the street lights was a 4,000 K. Basically what that is on the LED lights, it's a color rendition, and there's a picture that kind of give you a pretty good idea. I think it's on page 8 of what your streets kind of look like now with the high pressure sodium and what they will look like. This is a pretty, this isn't actually one of your streets, but it's a good idea what things are going to change. So we did that lighting workshop on the 5th. One of the things that we were working on there was the downtown city decorative lights, and we're still in the process of putting all that together, but with Kendall and the city team, we've decided on which poles and heads and those sorts of things. So those are in the process of being worked on right now. I think my biggest, probably what I really wanted to go over was the very last page is on the schedule, just to let you guys know kind of where we're at from this point on. So on the 4th of January, we'll have another, what this will be is a second water meter workshop. Actually, it'll be a meter workshop where we're talking about the AMI infrastructure, the electric and the water meters, because we've got prices back from all our vendors, so we've got basically 3 prices back on everything, different styles of meters, different types of meters, and this is where the city staff will actually choose, okay, I want to use this one, but I don't want to use that one type of deal. And then from there, we'll pin down those numbers. Again, we'll tell them to give us our best and final price, and then on that meter, from that meter workshop there, on the week of the 15th, I won't say exactly the 15th, but on the week of the 15th, we'll have prices back to Kendall for everybody to review and put all this final project together. And on the 23rd, your commissioner meeting on the 23rd, we'll have that project back to you to review. And, you know, you may have some thoughts and ideas on those final pieces. And from that point on, we'll tweak it from there, right, to what the city would like to see. So it's been a busy last couple months. And again, I think we drove the city staff pretty much insane for the last 2 months, but they haven't thrown us out yet. But a lot of detail, there's a lot of detail that goes into this, a lot of work, both from Johnson Controls, but it's a lot of work on the city staff too. And I just want to take the time here to officially say thank you to them, because they have helped us out tremendously, and it's got to be a team effort or this thing won't work, right? So any questions from anybody? And again, you've got that document there. Please review it. And if there's any questions, don't hesitate to call me anytime. Kendall's got my number.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot your name.
David. I'm David. I'm sorry. David Belines.
Okay, David. And I forgot you live in Wichita, or where
No,
you-
I live in Kansas City. Yeah.
KC,
Yeah.
okay, David. Okay. Okay, well, good. I don't think we have any questions. Everything's going fine.
Everything's going well.
No real news.
No, not at this point, but we will. Right now, all the numbers are being crunched as we speak, and we'll know a little bit more after this meeting on the 4th. Then the final numbers will start coming together. So, but yeah, it's just been a lot of data gathering.
Yep.
and a lot of time. Yeah.
We could have Skyped them in, couldn't we, Chris? I mean, I'm not talking about this particular deal, but can we start Skyping some of this stuff in? for these kind of deals?
We do have the capabilities, yeah.
Something to think about. Thank you, David. Have a
Yeah.
safe trip home.
All right.
No
thank
other
you, guys.
questions?
Kendall, was that meeting changed to the 21st?
The December meeting is the
Yeah.
21st, the next meeting.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
guys.
Appreciate all your help.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor, we neglected to get another presentation listed.
Okay.
That's my mistake. Tricia Purden is here.
Okay.
To give an update from MAC per your guys' request. I have them come update.
Sure.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I saw that was on the agenda and I wasn't sure, so still staying warm and cozy in my coat, so thank you for giving me a second. You had requested at the last commission meeting for a quick MAC quarterly report, and to tell you.
Thank you.
If you had any questions about what we're doing, you haven't been following our Facebook page.
Thank you. Great.
2017 has been a,
Let me ask you a question
Yes.
first, Tricia.
yes, sir.
Is this the same presentation as you did at your meeting the other day?
Same format, I changed and updated some information
Okay.
on there, so there's some
Okay.
definite updates in here.
Good
So,
enough. Thank you, Trish.
yeah, I mean, you can skip through the very beginning, because it's
Okay.
the same information.
Okay,
We
thanks.
haven't had that much change in the last
Thank
couple
you.
weeks, but. 2017 has been one of the busiest years I've ever seen working at Montgomery County, in economic development specifically. We have seen out on MAC's organizational level, obviously we have changeover at the top. I'm the new executive director, previously obviously with the city of Coffeyville. We have increased our memberships. We have increased our county membership. We have issued several microloans. Currently, we have about $211,000 still available to loan out to small businesses. We're up on our membership. Now we're up to 137 members, where before we were about 130. So we've got 7 new members this year. And I signed on 2 more this morning, so that's good news. We have seen 19 RFPs, requests for proposals, from businesses who are looking at Montgomery County as a potential future site. That says 6, but I got a hold of the state and narrowed that down, and I'll go into that a little bit more detail in a couple slides back, but I think we're at 4 currently very active, 3 of which we're still in the finalist stage on. So definitely some good news heading our way. I got a phone call just this afternoon. I wasn't even able to go to the Rotary Christmas party today because the state called and said, hey, you're a finalist for this project. So we have to prepare for that, a presentation this week. So I haven't even been able to tell you yet. So one of the big things that in economic development we look at to see if we're actually making changes, because everyone says, oh, you know, what are you doing at MAC? You're working on recruiting businesses. We haven't seen hardly any new businesses, but one of our businesses in the audience today that I'll talk about here in a minute. But the biggest thing we can see is our citizens taking home more money in their paycheck. And so our county median wage has increased this year. In 2015, it was $13.71. 2016 is $15.31. So we've had a substantial increase for our citizens in Montgomery County on their take-home pay. So their annual salary has gone up. That's great news for our residents, and that shows how strong our economy is in Montgomery County, and our businesses are starting to pay that forward to their employees. That's very good news. The MAC budget, this was as of November 1, so we haven't updated payroll or anything like that, and some of the services we've contracted out in the last couple months to assist us on this Tyson project. So right now we still have a balance of $68,000 in the account, but I imagine that's probably cut in half at least at this point to get us till the end of the month. But you can see that we are getting more memberships, and that revenue is starting to increase, which is nice. Less burden on our city community partners, and we're spreading it to some of the businesses that are reaping the benefits of MAC services. One of the biggest goals that I had as the new executive director is to grow our small businesses. And so we have streamlined our small business development program, made the application to where it's uniform, that whether the city of Coffeyville, Coffeyville's e-community program, Independence's e-community program, Max loan program, or even an IWW program can all use the same loan application. So one company says, I want to open a business in Coffeyville. I also have a second business in Independence. They have to fill out one application. We share that with the bankers. They don't have to go door to door to door trying to get this process going. So tried to cut down on the time it took them, and then we got some feedback on running credit reports. If you're getting a bank report and then you're coming to us, that's 2 dings on your credit. We found a way to still run a credit report without having those 2 dings on that business's credit, which can hurt them in getting lines of credit for their business. So just small tweaks that have really made a difference. We have seen several new loan applications as a result, several new businesses open, Apricot Lane, for example, Steadfast Barbershop, Smith's Auto and Tire in Caney, for example. So we've seen a lot of new businesses open in Montgomery County just in 2017. So far, it seems like the application's working. Like I said before, our MAC membership is growing. We're up about almost $35,000 this year than we were in previous years. So that's good news. We're definitely using every penny of it, even with the gap in service for the first 5-6 months at MAC. We're probably going to be pretty close to our annual budget, just because we've had so many marketing things that we've had to put out there, and efforts we've had to do specifically on the Tyson project. So the good news for Coffeyville, I'm on this slide here, your pie chart. Coffeyville has seen 55% of all RFPs have been for Coffeyville sites. So Coffeyville is definitely getting a majority of looks from businesses. I would say that, obviously with Amazon and Southwire being vacant, but we've really made efforts in Coffeyville to streamline our RFP process, to make sure that the North Industrial Park and some of our vacant sites around the industrial park have been well marketed, well researched. We know what's there. We know our utility information. The public service staff at Coffeyville is second to none when it comes to updating your GIS information. I can put together a proposal in a couple hours for Coffeyville, no question, because I can instantly call Thomas or Chuck or Jim or Gene or Mike and say, I need to know this utility information, and they respond instantly. So having that constant partnership with the city has been amazing. So I'm going to skip forward a bit just so that we can save some time. I know you guys squeezed me in. We've seen with 19 new companies, 150 new jobs created in our county. 2 expansions are in place right now. It creates another 140 jobs that we're seeing. And actually, I just heard maybe another 30 is being added to that too from VT Hackney up in Independence that wasn't part of our group. So 4 new small businesses, 1 expansion. The next page, which is this one here, these are your current active RFPs that we have pending. We have 4 current. One is 1,600 jobs. We probably all know what that one is. Another one for 250 jobs we're a finalist for. Another one for 250 jobs we're a finalist for. And then another one with 1,200 jobs, which we submitted REAR recently, and so we haven't had feedback yet on. So one of those, both of the ones that are finalists are for Southwire and potentially new construction. So hopefully we can get Southwire marketed. The last thing I really wanted to touch on, and I'm going to just go over the overview really quick, is Tyson, because that can go into a lot of things. But I wanted to clarify, most importantly, we are still in the running. It's 50-50 in Kansas. I've been speaking with Tyson. I've been speaking with Kansas Department of Agriculture, and we are still in the recruitment phase of this project, and I think that's confusing. Someone who doesn't work in economic development doesn't understand that there's several phases of a project. So there's the recruitment phase, which is where we're at right now, where we are putting together marketing information, PR information, we're studying our infrastructure, we're studying our utilities, we're studying our, our water supply in this case, our grower network in this case. What can we do to support this business? And then we have to make the case. In this circumstance, because of what happened in Tonganoxie, we definitely got pushed back a bit because they had to move forward with Tennessee. They needed to get a plant on the ground. They needed it to be open by January 1 of 2019. So they had to go ahead and break ground in Tennessee, which was Plan B. Kansas Department of Agriculture said they've had several discussions with Tyson. 2 plants were always in the works. So they moved forward with Tennessee, which I was even told was Plan B from the beginning. So now they're Plan A, we're Plan B, which means we have a little bit more time now to do our due diligence. We have more time to research. We have more time to gather the data that we need to make a very educated decision as an elected body, as a community, and as a region. So I guess at that, I will cut it off because I know you guys squeezed me in. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. The last thing I wanted to plug was this Thursday at 3 o'clock at the Spencer Rounds Theater at CCC. We are having a producer-grower meeting. We have some gentlemen that currently and have raised chickens for Tyson to talk to area producers who want to know what that looks like. So it's basically a producer-to-producer meeting, so they can speak the same language. What does a daily work life look like if I'm going to be raising 29,000 chickens in a barn? So that's what this meeting is about. And then we'll also have a financing expert that will tell them exactly how that can be financed to build these barns that they would need to raise chickens for Tyson. So again, we're in the preliminary phase. We need to make sure that our farmers have as much information so they can start their due diligence. I don't think any decisions are going to be made anytime soon. We have a long haul to go. Normally this isn't in the public eye at this stage. Usually this is a stage where we're constantly working, we're constantly researching. And so from the outsider's perspective, this is taking forever. I can tell you it's moving at a breakneck pace, which is probably something that it doesn't seem like that, but it is. So, questions?
Well, I want to tell you, I was very impressed with your presentation. I think, Justin, you were there. A lot of people were there. Of course, that was the topic of the night at your meeting a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Since that meeting, I've had a couple calls. When will it be time for the public to talk to maybe some town hall meetings, or there's questions with, as you know and everybody knows, environmental, and there's questions with teachers at the school teaching the Spanish students and whatnot. Okay, when is it time to talk about those things and understand the engineering and all that for the public?
So one of the things we've been working on is setting up kind of an informational fair where someone could come and ask questions of the school district. They could come ask questions about our utility department. They could come ask questions, hopefully, from Tyson. We're so early in this phase, it's probably not going to be till the spring that we're able to have that, because we still have to learn all of that information to be able to provide that information. I will say, though, if you have questions, there's a lot of answers we can have, but I'm learning them as fast as I can. Call me, email me. Our website's actioncouncil.com. I can try to answer as many questions as possible on a one-to-one basis, but to have a giant town hall meeting, I don't foresee that anytime soon because we still have to learn a lot. Tyson, when they didn't do town hall meetings until they had decided on Tonganoxie, and then they had town hall meetings. So my guess is most likely we'll have a lot of opportunities to learn more information between now and whenever they make a decision, and then we'll have some town hall meetings. But the goal is really to do probably information sessions versus town halls, because you have one person that gets a hold of Mike for 30 minutes. It's not productive for anyone. But if you can have some one-on-one conversations with the people you really need answers from, that's probably the best use of everyone's time. So that's probably the format that we're going to go with.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Trish.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Thank you, Trish.
All right.
Thank you,
very
Trish.
much.
Thank you, Trish.
I guess one last thing. In the audience tonight, we have Bryant Beeland and Randy. Now I forgot your last name, Randy. Robbie from Renews. They're our newest business to move to Coffeyville. There's a snafu a little bit with their cost-benefit analysis with their industrial revenue bonds. Somehow Springstead didn't get it out to us. It was done, but they didn't get it to us in time to meet the hearing deadline. And so they came thinking their hearing was today, and it's not until the 21st, and the odd timing with the holidays. They're not actually going to be able to be here for their public hearing. They'll be here for the second reading, though. So if you have questions, they can answer those. I'm pretty well versed what's going on, though, too, and I will be here on the 21st to talk more about that project. But I wanted to give you all a heads up. I know we really always want our businesses to be here, but they're coming in from Georgia, and it's hard with the scheduling and being so close to Christmas. They weren't able to get that squeezed in, unfortunately. So
What's
Do they want to take just a couple of minutes to say anything? Well, they're welcome to. They're here.
they're shy, remember?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, well, they have the opportunity if they want to say a quick something, they're here. If not, we're good.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
We'll wait until January.
Okay,
Okay.
good enough.
All right,
I
sounds
think
good.
things are moving along. The
Thanks.
pits are their pits are in there. If you guys wanted to go down to the former Darwin building, if you're not familiar, they're really moving along. So
Pets, they run them out of the building, didn't they?
oh, nice, very nice. Thank you guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sound like you're doing a lot of good work.
All right, moving on to new business, discussion and action to appoint 2 people to the CRMC Board of Trustees. We have 3 applicants, Debbie Carter, Stan Eli, and James Faulkner. We'll start with Debbie Carter. If you want to come up to the microphone and tell us why you would like to be on the CRMC Board.
Well, I'm here to apply for my second term on the Board of Trustees at the hospital. My first passion is Coffeyville and the quality of life in Coffeyville, and I feel that the hospital board is a very important position. There's a very large learning curve. The hospital business is a different kind of business than most. I mean, there's some basic things that are the same, but there's a lot of, you have to look at funding and equipment and providers, those sort of things, and there's a lot to learn. I feel like I'm a little more comfortable than I was 4 years ago. So anyway, we've done a lot of things in the last 4 years. We've had we've hired a new CEO. We've gone completely from providers which are physicians that are self-employed, to those that are employed by the hospital. We have our own medical clinic now, and we've lost money. We've moved some services to independents. Anyway, we've got a lot of things going. The police department's getting ready to move out of the hospital, and we're going to start utilizing that area, make space for more providers. Anyway, just want the best for Coffeyville, and would like to continue on the board. Okay.
Questions?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Debbie.
Appreciate your service the last 4 years.
Stan Eli.
Stan Eli, 615 West 3rd here in Coffeyville. Mayor, Commissioners. I also am reapplying for the Board of Trustees. It's been an exciting 4 years, but one of my primary reasons for reapplying is that, as Deb is, I'm on the Board of Directors also. In order to be on the Board of Directors, you have to have 3 members off the Board of Trustees, which represents the citizens of Coffeyville. And I want to continue there too. So that's all I've got.
Okay.
I have one question. Is this your first or second term?
Second term.
Second term. So, okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dan. Appreciate your service.
James Faulkner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. That's Jim.
I
Stick with
know.
Jim, not James. As you can see from my application there on the resume that was attached, I've previously served on several city commissions, and as a graduate of both Leadership Coffeyville and the state legislature's Project 17 for Southeast Kansas civic leadership, this just represents a continued desire on my part to continue serving in whatever capacity I can. Prior to retirement, which wasn't that long ago, again, as you can see by my resume, I spent nearly 20 years in healthcare management, and I created 2 healthcare organizations that were immediately certified by both Medicare, Medicaid, and the Joint Commission, which is the gold seal standard for healthcare organization certifications in the United States. Had a long and successful career. Capstone was being the chief executive officer of the Kansas Masonic Home in Wichita, and I've served in several management positions, to include a position with under Monty Kaufman here in Coffeyville at Windsor Place for 6 years, and I saw a lot of activity at the hospital there. So in the process of doing all of this, I am no stranger to all of the regulations that both the federal and state government lays on healthcare organizations, and these days staying on top of that, along with the financial, which is becoming more and more dire as the federal government tightens the screws on reimbursement for hospitals. Our rural hospitals needs a lot of management focus. And while Stan and Debbie have served honorably, I think I could fresh look and a fresh approach to that top tier level of management at the hospital.
Okay. I
Questions?
got a question. Showed my ignorance here a little bit. And
Don't
there's-
do it, Jim.
Well, it's not, I won't say anything back to you, Chris. There's something coming up in January. Hang on just 1 minute, Jim, because I have a question for you guys and gals. In January, isn't there something else coming up for the board, or is there not? I mean, is these other ones that are Victory and Maxon, those guys, are they still on for the rest of the time?
Yeah, their terms expire in like 21.
Oh, it's
There's
21?
one, the next one that will expire would be in January 1 of 19.
Okay,
So in a year, we
Okay.
will have 2 more openings.
Specifically, though, Gary Victory and Tracy Maxon, they're in office until 21.
okay. So if something would happen to somebody, then there'd be another opening, I mean, just like a city commissioner or anything else?
Certainly, if
Okay.
someone were to
Okay.
step down or something.
This is my point, okay? I thought maybe one coming up pretty quick, but I was wrong on that. My question to the 3 candidates, this is a tough decision. We've got 3 good ones here, okay? And this is the way I look at it, don't know how all you feel. But my question to each candidate is, the one that doesn't get it tonight, will you be willing to serve in the future?
Personally, yes.
Is that a fair question?
Yes.
Because, okay, well, I mean, that's just a question I had, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to all of you about that, and tonight's a good time, so, because I just got a little information, I'm a little confused on some things, and that question crossed my mind, and I'm glad to hear that, okay? That's all I've got. Thank you, James.
Again,
Thank you, Jim.
This request for the appointment, from my perspective, again, is just to continue to serve the city wherever I can.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
And
it.
Yeah.
I'd qualify that where I am most qualified to do so. And as a member of the Board of Trustees, I think that would be the best place for my talents at this point in time.
Well, I know you're trying. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Any questions from the
I have
commission?
a comment. Before we vote, we have, or before we nominate someone, we have 3 excellent candidates.
Agreed.
However, we set up here month after month after month and beg people to apply for boards. When people apply for boards, and then we have additional people who are already on those boards apply, and then, and no disrespect to anybody, but I have said from the beginning that if citizens put their name in the hat, they should have an opportunity to serve. And therefore, I'm going to recommend, or I'm going to nominate Jim Faulkner for one of the positions on the board.
I'll second that. That's what needs to be done. I'll second that. I don't know if that's the process. I don't know if that's the process.
So do you want to do these appointments separately?
However we want to do it.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Castler to appoint Jim Faulkner to the CRMC Board of Trustees, serving to January 1, 2022. Mayor Bauer.
No.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Well, it's obviously it's a, so what, if my ignorance, if I vote no, then
It's 3-2.
it's 3.
There's already 3 on.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Second appointment.
I'll nominate Debbie.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing that.
I'll nominate Debbie.
I'll second it.
You can nominate somebody you want to.
Motion was made by Commissioner Castler and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to appoint Debbie Carter to the CRMC Board of Trustees, serving to January 1, 2022. Commissioner Bauer. Or,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Second item on the agenda.
Okay. I want to say thanks for all the
Yes.
candidates for showing up and serving. And Stan, you're off, I guess. And we want to thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you
Thank you,
very
Stan.
much.
I kind of wanted you. But anyway, thank you, Stan.
Yes, thank you. Second item on the agenda is discussion and action to appoint one person to the Planning Commission, applicants Lisa Brookover and Kenneth Winston. If Lisa will come up and make comments. Thank you.
A little bit of background. I'm originally from Coffeyville. I moved back 16 years ago, and I've tried that whole time to get involved in Coffeyville as much as I could. I retired from 445, and then I spent 2 years at the clinic, and then the last 3 years at the chamber. So I've retired again. It may stick this time, but it has freed up more time for me to volunteer. I guess I'm a resident of downtown, so I've been very involved in the downtown area. But I just want to do whatever I can to help Coffeyville move forward.
Good.
So,
Questions?
You've been a part of downtown. I don't want to say, but you live downtown before. I think, first of all, I think for all you've done for Coffeyville, you have done a lot. You have been there. You have came to commission meetings and talked about subjects that you feel passionately about, and I want to thank you for coming to that because a lot of people don't. What makes you want to apply for this specific board?
just to help.
To help out.
I guess I don't know a ton about it, but I think it's the broad plan for the city. And I just want to be a part of trying to keep us going forward, because I think we're making huge strides. I really do.
Well, to tell you the truth, when I first got on there, I didn't know much about it either, so
There's always that learning curve, but I know you'll be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Other questions? Thank you.
No. Thank you, Lisa.
Kenneth?
Well, I was born in Coffeyville and was here for all the way through junior college. Then I was gone about 30 years, and I've been back about 45. So I'm not young. And I was in the insurance business, and I traveled all over the area as well as city. I wrote the city's insurance, I wrote the college's insurance, and various other big organizations. And I just feel like I know Coffeyville about as well as I know Coffeyville better than any other town in the world. And I'm just at the point, I'm not working anywhere. I'm just relaxing, having coffee, and enjoying myself. But I thought, well, maybe I could serve and do some good and try to help people and learn a few things. Because even with all of that, I still have an awful lot of stuff I don't know.
All good points. Any other questions, or any questions from the commission?
No. I have a comment, though, when we're done. Thanks, Ken. Is that all for Ken?
I believe it is.
Thank you, Mr. Winston.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You know, here, you guys have seen me pull out my coin before, and I got a little criticism. But here's another perfect example. We got two great candidates, and I don't know how you choose one over the other one. Okay, I'll just say it. And I wouldn't want to nominate somebody because it's too tough a decision, so I'm going to let someone else do that.
I'm going to nominate Lisa Brookover for the position of Planning Commission.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Castler to appoint Lisa Brookover to the City Planning Commission, serving to January 1, 2021. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Would a no vote give a little support for Mr. Winston?
I think he did great.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Again,
Thank you, Mr. Winston, very much for putting it out there. Congratulations, Lisa. Item number 3, discussion and action to appoint one person to the Public Library Board. Applicant Brooke Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for your time. One of the reasons I applied for the board is reading has always been a passion of mine, and I think public libraries are very important to our communities, and Katie Hill and her staff do a phenomenal job here in Coffeyville. So I just really wanted to help support her and the library to continue to be successful. And I think I, as an employee of the chamber and then a current member of Leadership Coffeyville, I think I know what it takes to be a successful and supportive board member, and so I think I could be an asset to the board.
Great. Questions?
Trying to find out which one this was.
It's item number 3.
Okay, way up there. Okay. So you said you think Katie's doing a pretty good job.
I do. I hear her talk each week at CNN about the activities and the programs that they have going on, and I think it's really amazing what all they accomplish, and I think they're a very active public library.
Thank you, Brooke.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have questions either.
Thank you, Brooke.
Yeah.
I'll nominate Brooke. She's the only one.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Castler and seconded by Mayor Bauer to appoint Brooke Brown to the Public Library Board, serving to April 30th, 2022. And this will, as indicated in the note in the staff report, fill the unexpired term through the end of April, and then the new 4-year term.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Item number 4, discussion and action to approve a 2018 cereal malt beverage licenses. City Clerk Cindy Price will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, this year we received 16 applications for the 2018 cereal malt beverage license. 15 of those are businesses. The 16th is the Montgomery County Fair Association. That one's acted on separately. All of the renewals do meet the requirements set out by state statute and are eligible to receive their license. We recommend approval of these 15 for this resolution.
Questions from the commission?
No.
Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the 2018 cereal malt beverage licenses.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve the 2018 cereal malt beverage license. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-93, a resolution to approve the 2018 cereal malt beverage license for Montgomery County Fair Association. Cindy Price will make comments. I'll spit it out here in a second.
Mayor and Commissioners, we act upon this one separately, as this resolution not only approves their 2018 cereal malt beverage license, but it also exempts them from the city ordinance that prohibits the sale of cereal malt beverage in the public places. There, in your packet, there is a map that shows where the fair will set up their beer gardens during the 2018 Interstate Fair and Rodeo, and they only are allowed to sell and consume the beer inside the arena.
Which is no different than any other year,
It is no
correct?
different than what they have done the last several years.
Right.
So we recommend, and they meet the requirements also to be licensed.
Okay.
Here's my question. In this whatever it is, resolution. It says that the persons attending this special event shall be permitted to consume cereal malt beverage in designated areas at Walter Johnson Park, except for the provisions, blah, 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 blah. The designated areas are not, says they will be able to consume in the designated areas. What are the designated areas?
The designated areas inside the arena.
Doesn't say that in the resolution, no.
The part that's circled in the diagram is where they actually sell.
But it doesn't say it in the resolution. It just says
Okay,
designated
we
area.
will add arena.
Pardon?
We will add arena
Okay.
to the resolution.
And that's what happened last time, is that there was wasn't in the resolution, and therefore that we had to amend that. And I wanted to specifically say where they can consume, because if it doesn't, then that allows them to consume anywhere within Walter Johnson Park. Is that right, Paul?
The designated areas, I don't know how those areas would be designated, but
Exactly, if they're not spelled out?
I don't think it hurts to make it very clear.
Okay.
And the arena might include the fence and the area back in the back where the cattle are in that fenced area. Is that considered some of the arena?
The whole area that's fenced in?
See, I don't know if that would be considered the arena. Okay, you need the definition of arena, but
I think it's
we know
too
it's
late.
inside the fence, and we know where it's at. I mean, we know where they've been doing it forever, because we've seen it. If you've been out there, you know, but you might want to look at that language, is all I'm saying. Good catch,
And
Chris.
it's beautiful until you try to enforce it, and then you get caught up with a question of
Right.
where it is.
What we will do is get this drawing and then
Right.
have
There you
that-
go, highlight it or
Yep.
red it or something, mark it in red.
So we'll table this one till the next meeting? Or do we want,
No, it would,
we want to make those adjustments?
I think we can go ahead
First, or
and
do we
push it
want-
through and just get it done.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be
Well,
fine.
don't you have to have it in there and signed by the mayor before it to be?
We will add that and then have him sign it.
I think that's what she's saying. is
Okay.
Yes, we will add that.
Yeah, and then he signs it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can sign it tomorrow or,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Any other questions on resolutions R-17-93?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution R-17-93 for adoption
And I'd second that.
with the changes.
With the changes, yes.
Thank you.
The motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve resolution number R-17-93 for adoption. with the changes designating the specific areas that the zero malt beverage will be consumed.
Correct.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution number R-17-94, a resolution to identify preferred vendors for chemicals for the water treatment plant. Public Works Director Chuck Shively will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, on December 1st, we held our annual bid opening for chemicals to be used at the water treatment plant for the next year. Along with my staff report, you should have a tabulation of the bids that we received, listing both the unit prices bid and the annual cost based on the estimated annual quantity to be used. Our recommended preferred vendor for each chemical is shaded in yellow. Like previous years, we did not bid the polymer blends this year. Those polymers are unique blends which make it impossible to bid apples to apples because each manufacturer's blend is different. The lowest cost per gallon may not be the lowest overall cost because if it takes more chemical to get the same result, that increases the cost. We've tested other vendors' polymers in our lab, and they appeared to work well, but the cost was nearly double what we're currently paying. Since the polymer blends we have now are working well, we requested a quote from the vendor for 2018. Those quoted prices are included in the resolution. For 2018, we're recommending the low bidder for every chemical except the potassium permanganate. The low bid submitted for that chemical did not meet our specification, so we went to the next low bidder that did. Some prices went up this year from last year, some went down. Overall, the proposed chemical cost bid for 2018 and listed in the resolution result in an increase of approximately $13,000 on the total estimated chemical cost of over $330,000. The designation as a preferred vendor documents our intent to purchase the chemicals to be used at the plant during 2018 from those specified vendors. But if at any time the preferred vendor fails to meet our requirements, we would then move to the next lowest vendor until we find one that does meet our expectations. So we recommend approval of the resolution designated the preferred vendors for 2018 as listed in the body of the resolution. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, go ahead.
I've got a quick question.
Okay.
So just in my ignorance, of the highlighted ones, even though it's different manufacturers, that's
Yes.
where we would that's where we would order from, correct?
That's correct. That is correct.
Brentag from Nowata, if we ordered straight across the line with them, it would be $736 more than the highlighted area. If we went to them saying we would order everything, could we get a better deal?
They probably don't supply that.
It's very possible we could. It's also very possible some of the other vendors might get mad and not bid next year.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they feel like they're in a bidding process, and if we don't honor their low bid, they may not feel it's fair, and they may not bid next year. Or they may bid. I mean, that's their business.
Yeah. Yep.
It does make sense what you
Yeah,
say.
and I mean, it's fairly local. Nowata's pretty
Yeah.
close, so.
We could put it out that way next time.
As an option.
As an option, their bid.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, we could probably do something like that and see if we got a lower.
Yeah.
We could do that. That's a good idea for next year.
But it looks relatively like we're going to stay flat from last year to this
Pretty
year.
much, yeah. I mean, if you look at the overall cost, some goes up. 1 penny per 1,000 gallons equates to over $13,000, but we're staying within basically the same cost per 1,000.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Cost per 1,000.
Yeah.
So Kendall, you were in the water business at one time. You were involved in some that have knowledge, right?
Right.
Have you got anything to add that the public might want to know?
Well, and you and I had visited, I had reviewed all these bids, and I don't have an issue with the way we did it. I understand what Commissioner Doan is saying about trying to get all from one vendor. We're unusually located since we're close to Nowata, but he's right. If we drive off some of these, Univar, is a very reputable company. Hawkins as well. You can see where, like in our polyphosphates, we only got, limited supply or limited bidders on that. But if you would prefer us doing something like that in the future, I mean, we could look to give that option. But I would agree with these bids here. And
Yeah, I mean, my only question would be, so you can see that the Nowata on the last one, the 55-gallon drums of the, whatever that word is, polyphosphate.
Polyphosphate. Yep.
You know, we're a little higher down in Nowata, but you're also shipping it from Pennsylvania.
Well, it all
There's
comes.
trucking costs in there.
Yeah.
Is that
because
free?
These
Is
bid
the
costs
trucking
are
free?
delivered.
These are
That is delivered
These are
to the factory?
delivered
Okay.
bids.
So, in that theory, then, Brentag is substantially higher.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Now, we do have the ability, if we ever had an emergency, to buy directly from Brentag.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
but, and I think we have, in some instances,
Sure.
if we've needed to. But, and then the other, the potassium permanganate, that's an expensive chemical by itself, and I would agree with their recommendation, to not use a substandard product because it will cost us more.
Sure. I'm okay with it. That was just questions I had as
And just
Commissioner
for the
Dunn brought it
record,
up.
I don't have a tie to Brentag. I was just looking at the numbers and.
Right, I understand, and
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea that we might be able to put a second bid in, that if we award them all, how much will you?
it's a package
It's
deal.
an option.
Mhm.
Option.
That's
you get it
not
all.
a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Any
Okay.
other questions?
No, and I'd make a motion to approve resolution R-1794 for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Doan to approve resolution number R-17-94 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Right.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Resolution number R-17-95, a resolution to approve a change order for Mueller Construction for the demolition of the former Walmart building. City Manager Kendall Francis will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, as you're aware, we had contracted with Mueller Construction for the demolition and removal of the former Sunflower Walmart building. That work has been completed. However, in the removal of the foundation, the footings were discovered to be unusually large and in a larger quantity than would be anticipated. As a result, and in the staff report, you see the dimensions that were mentioned, some pictures that would verify the size in proportion. And so Mueller Construction has incurred about an additional $18,500 in cost for that removal. Mr. Mueller requested that the city would consider cost sharing at half that cost for the additional expenses incurred. My staff has reviewed the request. They did look at the site when it was being removed. They looked at the foundations as they were being pulled out. They believe that the request is reasonable. Now, the funding for this is from the Business Development Training Center funds, the BDTC. And and there are funds available for this. So it's the staff's recommendation that we approve the change order in the amount of $92.50 for Mueller Construction.
So that's half?
That is half.
Okay.
And I will say, Mr. Mueller hoped to be here tonight, but he has business that takes him out of town today and tomorrow, and so he wasn't able to attend.
You know, what I would have liked on this, I mean, this is kind of a tough one with our budget and everything. And did we get competitive bids on this one?
Yes.
And how did they work, just out of curiosity? Not that it has anything to do with this, but I'm curious to know how much he saved us on that deal.
Substantial, and I'll be honest, I can't tell you the numbers off the top of my head. His original bid was 74.5, I
Yeah.
believe.
Does anybody remember?
The additional
Well, it was
bids
75, but I don't know
were
what the other ones
the
were.
additional bids were in the 100,000 range. All the additional ones, and now this again.
There was some land trading going on
Yeah,
too in this deal. Maybe we should give him some more land.
The
No, nothing to say on that?
I was trying to.
Okay.
The deal that you were mentioning about for the land was to deed 9/10 of an acre, 8/10 of an acre of property that is adjacent to the Walmart, the current Walmart, and he owns all the property that surrounds it. I didn't believe that it was useful for the city and any future use. Mr. Mueller, will take care of it, clean it up. And that was in exchange for agreeing to hold his bid for the year that we delayed the demolition.
That was a pretty good deal to him.
I'd
I wish
say,
he was here. I'd like to talk to him. I mean, I hate to do it publicly, but that's how we have to do it, But I'm gonna say this. I had a little project out there on that concrete on that building one time. They built that place like a tank. Okay, that front end, we had to change it. It was unbelievable. That thing was built. There's not a doubt in my mind that there was some extra work there. And I don't know what this is right here in these pictures. That looks like that front end that came around, and that was the tough part. Because I personally took that concrete down, it was above grade, this is below grade. And I don't know if that was all the way around the building or just right in front. I wish I'd, been a little bit more involved in that. I mean, was this all the way around the building like this? Or was this just in front?
Those footings were the perimeter of the building as well as a strip down the middle of the building, and then some that laid outside the perimeter of the building.
Okay.
Now, I personally did not see all of those. Again, like I said, I know staff was following the demolition.
Well, you only got, 6 pictures here, and I think, I don't know, this is a tough one I knew coming into it, and we talked about it today. We talked for maybe 5 minutes about the whole agenda, we do that once in a while, but this one, I think it'd been better if Mark was here. Anytime you're trying to sell an extra, 25% on the bid, but there's not a doubt in my mind that there's some extra cost in this thing. I think he did real well. I wish he was here. I haven't talked to Mark forever.
I might recommend that you table it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know Mr. Mueller wanted to be here.
Yeah.
We could see if we could schedule for him or Joe to be here.
I'd like to have a chance to talk to him. I think it's only fair.
Sure.
I'd like to talk to him.
Okay.
since we're on the subject, why did not the city put in the bid proposal to take those lights down? Are any of those things operable?
I'll be honest, I do not know if they're operable, and why we didn't take them down. I'll be honest, I don't know about that.
Well, if you take them down,
But that's something that city staff would have the capability of taking those down.
if you take them down, we got to put asphalt in the hole, is that correct? Or just leave the
Well,
concrete out for, I don't remember what it looks like.
We probably want to cover the wiring, absolutely, somehow.
Some degree. Yep.
Or remove it below ground level.
It just makes it look like more flooded, abandoned property.
Okay.
What's the future plans for that after that's taken care of? What are the future plans for that property?
We're actively marketing it now. Retail Strategies is actively marketing that site for us. I've been in contact with them as recent as last week, as far as to let them know that everything has been completed on that, and that it's a developable site.
I know when Trish was here, you guys had a pretty big plan on the east side of
We do have the East Coppeville redevelopment plan that's in place, and that area would be a portion of it.
That's just something that's been after me around when I see people is ask me, well, when I was torn down, what's going to happen? Is it going to be vacant or what? So that's just what I want to get the public.
We have
attention on.
slightly over seven acres, almost 8 acres there that
I imagine it
would
would be prime real
prime
estate.
development. Yes.
You would think.
So,
questions?
So make a motion to table it?
I'd make a motion to table it till next meeting.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Castler to table resolution number R-17-95 until the December 21st meeting. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Dome.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye. Now,
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
I'm sorry. While we're on that, is that we can meet with Mr. Mueller if we want to? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, if you would like, I would ask that he reach out to you if you would like.
Yeah, if you got time, maybe we can visit with him. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Sure.
Okay. Would one other commissioner want to join that?
Sure.
So we'll
let me
try to
know
get
when.
one more.
Okay.
Paul, anybody else care? Okay.
I
well-
trust what you come back with.
Okay, just me and Paul maybe.
Okay.
We couldn't get another one anyway. What's the matter with me? We
Right.
couldn't do that anyway.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah.
Just testing you guys.
Moving on to resolution number R-17-96, a resolution to authorize the Coppeville Fire Department to participate in the Kansas Search and Rescue Response System. Fire Chief Bob Roski will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, the Kansas Fire Marshal's Office has contacted me and asked us to participate in the Kansas Search and Rescue Response System. This is where, in case of a disaster, the fire department could supply personnel or equipment if needed or available. Our department has personnel that can supply these, supply personnel to the state in case of a disaster. We do have people who are trained in rope rescue, swift water, and urban search and rescue. This will also allow the state to reimburse us for any cost.
So the state pays for it?
If we get deployed, yes.
Hey, if we get deployed?
Yes.
Does it cost anything to get the training?
It does initially, but our guys like to train a lot.
Sure,
so,
sure.
I mean, we like being, because you never know what's going to happen around here. So
Right.
we like to get our training
Sure.
Prepared.
If we do it through KU, usually it doesn't cost anything.
So it's minimal at best.
Yes.
And you have it in your budget for training
Yes.
purposes anyway, correct?
Yes.
Well, it's a no-brainer. I just wondered.
Yeah.
what it
The
cost.
only thing that costs usually is the testing, and it's like $20.
Are we not already a part of this?
No, we're not.
We're not already a part of this?
Our hazmat team is.
Okay, so when we had this little, whatever you want to call it, back when the hurricane hit, the southern coast of the United States,
Down-
and we were put on standby. Who put us on standby?
The state did. They wanted to do this, that way we can be assured that we could get reimbursed.
But evidently,
It's-
I'm not understanding. We weren't part of this, but the state put us on standby.
Correct.
Who put us on standby?
Well, the state did, but it's something that they want us to,
Who from the state put us on standby?
that was the state fire marshal's office.
But we weren't a part of this.
Not
See,
at that, not at that time.
Okay, so then
This-
how can they put us on standby if we're not part of their organization that we get
This
put on
is-
standby?
This was something new that they wanted to make sure after Houston, after the, being deployed, they wanted this to ensure that we get reimbursed and that everybody's covered. And that if we don't do this, then we won't be part of it. Then they won't call us.
Okay. So someone from the fire marshal's office put us on standby
Yes.
during the Houston thing. Who was it, and how did they put you on standby? They call you on the phone?
They call us
or-
on the phone and ask if we have anybody available.
Okay. And then,
Then we say, yes, I can supply one person, or I can supply two people, or I can supply 2 people in a boat,
okay.
or whatever resources we have.
And then they tell you by phone to be on standby to respond to
Yes.
wherever. But at that time, evidently it was,
At
It
that
was-
time, this wasn't in place.
okay, so it was,
They're just wanting to make sure that they have all their, I guess, ducks in a row.
so it would have
all
been
their-
the city that would have incurred the cost.
They would have reimbursed us, but it's something new that they wanted to put in just to make sure, just to cover themselves.
So it wasn't a guaranteed reimbursement, maybe?
Well, it was from FEMA, so it really wasn't, they would have had to wait for FEMA to pay them, but
Right.
this allows them to pay us
So
directly.
is this just for a response to the state of Kansas, or is this
Yes.
a response to, so
If the state of Kansas asks us to, we can respond with them.
And now the state fire marshal pays us directly.
Yes.
They do the work with FEMA to get the reimbursement on their end.
Gotcha.
So who from the fire marshal's office put us on standby?
Randy Hill.
Okay.
Now, some of that reimbursement, I don't get drilled down so deep here, but they just reimburse you over the 40 hours, don't they?
Whatever we put in, whatever time we put in, they'll reimburse us for that.
Oh, they will?
Yes.
I thought I heard some conversation or saw something in writing that they just wanted to pay, I don't know if that was Katrina or which one, they wanted to pay any overtime, but not the regular time.
They'll pay us, anything over 40 hours is overtime.
But will they pay the first 40 hours too, or is that donated?
No, that's paid.
Is it? Okay.
Anything that we put on our form, you have to fill out a form.
Okay, sure.
Whatever hours we put on there, that's what you get reimbursed for.
So you mentioned hazmat. If they were deployed, only the hazmat people would be able to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Our hazmat team already has a resolution like this.
How many people are on hazmat?
On our department, we have 16.
They're all?
Most of them.
16.
We have a
Okay.
couple of new guys that aren't.
Is there anyone else
techs yet.
in the city who is trained on hazmat? There's
Not
not.
to my, no, I mean, beyond the fire department,
There's no other emergency services people
No.
who are,
not in the city. I don't know about like with EMS. I don't know.
So if the fire department were to be dispatched to one of these type of incidents, it would have to be dispatched from the state fire marshal's office if it was outside the city limits?
If you wanted to get reimbursed.
Okay. And
But, we do like mutual aid with like Independence.
or South
Or South
Coffeyville.
Coffeyville, but we kind of go back and forth with each other, so that isn't going to be paid for, because that's a mutual aid agreement or automatic aid agreement. They come help us, we help them. This is mainly if there's a big disaster and they need help.
In Kansas.
Can they deploy you anywhere?
Yes, anywhere that they see fit, if they need us.
Is that something we would do through the electric utilities also, since they were dispatched? I mean, do they have something along these same lines?
Well, some of ours is, like, when we responded was a mutual aid through KMU, I believe is, but I don't think they have this, so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like the Houston or the flooding or something. The state of Texas or the city of Houston Emergency Management has to request it.
Right.
And then that triggers the ability for FEMA reimbursement. But the city deals straight with FEMA in that regard. In this regard, the fire marshal, their department is going to pay us, and then the state of Kansas
Okay.
goes after,
I wasn't trying to
does the
mix
stuff
the
with
two,
FEMA.
I was just,
Yeah.
the similarities, trying
But
to
there
put
is a
some
lot of
similarities
similarities,
between
and
the
the
two.
Commissioner's right, it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
But while we're on that topic, who reimbursed us to send our electric crew to Florida?
I believe that is through FEMA, yes.
So did,
But staff, Stephanie and Marilyn, and the electric department handle all that paperwork, and as far as getting the reimbursements
so
back to Orlando.
let me just get this straight. So during this, and I'm totally done with it, I'll prove this deal, but I'm trying to get this in my mind. So when the fire department was put on standby, or if we'd have sent people to Texas for the flooding, we would have been reimbursed by FEMA. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
And
But
let me stop there. And we would have been for all their hours. Because I thought there was a document or
correct,
some
yes.
conversation that we were just gonna get paid over the 40 hours.
We get paid per our contract.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess I was wrong, or something was said.
So.
Okay, go ahead.
So, just to recap, if we'd have went to Texas with the fire department, we'd have been reimbursed by FEMA. But we went to Florida with the electric department, and we're gonna be reimbursed by FEMA.
Yeah, I think that's correct, the way you're saying.
Then what was the deciding factor to send electric people to Florida to
We
restore
were asked.
electric? Okay, so we were asked.
Yes.
Okay.
And they didn't ask the fire department.
Right, that's what he was referring to when they called
Just on
and
standby.
wanted to know what our assets were, what we had available.
Resources.
Resources. And then Chief let them know what we had available. And then they said, you're
Okay.
on standby from now until a certain date, whatever, I don't remember what that date was.
Okay.
And that
And
was Mr. Hills that put us
Yes.
on standby via a phone call.
Okay, now, do they work more hours on a deal like that than they normally would?
Yes.
And do they get paid
Sometimes-
extra for that?
Yes, they would.
Does the city make any money on that? Would the city get reimbursed and make any kind of a profit, if that's the word?
It's
A
not
ROI?
it's not for a profit. They would get reimbursed what the personnel would have been paid for, plus
Okay.
any overtime that they incurred.
So they'd get the overtime.
Yes.
So do they like to do that? Do they want to do that to get the overtime as a rule?
Well,
I'm just curious.
They just do it because that's, what they get trained for, and they like to go.
Okay. I
whatever
just
they're-
wondered, I mean, we got one guy who was a firefighter sitting down here on the other end. I forgot, weren't you a firefighter?
I was.
Okay. I mean, I just wondered how the men felt, and not necessarily
Right.
just in Coffeyville, but would they be wanting to go do that? I mean, I would think so, but I'm
Yeah.
just asking,
Yes, they'd want to do that, but
to get the overtime too.
not necessarily. They want to, usually you train, and you
Yeah.
train, but you never get to use it.
Right.
And sometimes when you do get to use it, you feel good about yourself, because I got to go do what I was trained to do.
But none of them give up the check, I assume.
Well, you know, that's a perk, I guess.
I got it. But
That's not
what's,
necessarily,
Bob, the reason I'm asking, I remember some conversation through this, and that's one reason we're doing all these questions, is
Right.
the guys wanted the overtime. Some of the guys, they said, well, somebody said, hey, they want to go because they're going to make a lot of money, they're going to work
no,
a
they
lot of
wanted
hours.
to go because,
Well, I know they want to serve. I mean, that's why we
Right.
all do what we want to do. I understand.
a lot of them wanted to go because, you know, we had our flood and we wanted to go help somebody else that, they had a disaster, we had one, let's go help them too.
So they wanted to go.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to hear too, yeah. Interesting. You know, we don't get a chance to talk about these things except here, so the public likes to know these things too. I think they would.
If you would like, I could have staff put together some of the basics about those types of responses and kind
Right.
of what the process is, what
I
is
think that'd
required
be
on our
great.
end. And
I
give us a little time, we'll put something together
Yeah.
to kind of illustrates what our requirements are and what FEMA expects of us and the interactions
I
that
think
take
it'd be a
place.
great idea. We'd have it for the future
Yeah.
in our library, so to speak. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a few questions.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Trying to be- No, it's okay. Okay, so, first of all, if we agree to this,
Right.
are we obligated, if the fire marshal's office calls, do we still have the ability to say,
We can say no.
at this time? No.
Right.
Okay. One question was coverage area. It's just in Kansas for this, correct? The other, do they, and I hate to even bring it up, but do they have the same kind of death benefit payment as FEMA would?
I'm not sure.
Well,
I'd
I
have-
mean, we talked about paying them per hour,
Right.
but, I mean, you know as well as I do, bad things can happen. So
Yes.
are we covered on that end as well?
The workman's comp and those areas are covered, fall under the city's purveyance.
Okay. All right,
So-
I just don't want to, I don't want to send somebody and leave mom and children at home and then not have them covered.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Any other
Well,
questions?
You know, and does that affect our work comp rate? I mean, this is getting to a legal thing, and I really don't care to go on with it anymore.
I mean,
But-
if injuries affect our work
Right,
comp
right.
rate, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if
It's a
they got
potential.
hurt doing that, then it would have then,
Yeah.
yes, it could. But just the fact that we're a member of this, no, that does not.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Well, again, I appreciate you offering Kendall
Thank you,
to put that together. Thanks. Fire Chief Bob, thank you.
You're welcome.
I
Thank
call
you.
him Captain a time or two, that's why I had to look at it. I get some of these names mixed up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to say something while you're standing there. You know, we had a walkthrough on the building the other day, and I
Yes.
sure appreciated that. We sure appreciated
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
That was
welcome.
nice, and I'm going to say something about it at the end of the meeting too, in case you take off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-17-96 for adoption.
I'll second it.
Who's first? I don't know.
I think, who got it?
I don't care, Jim.
Motion was
You-
made by
that's
Mayor
a-
Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Doan to approve resolution number R-17-96 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Ordinance number S-17-04, first reading of an ordinance to provide for the acquisition of an interest in certain retail property necessary for the construction of the 11th and Willow intersection project. City Attorney Paul Kreitz will make comments.
Commissioners, this is the first of two readings for an ordinance to proceed with acquiring some right-of-way and some temporary construction easement for the 11th and Willow, a geometric improvement project. There's still a couple of properties that we need to acquire. If you looked at Mr. Osborne's staff report, he's still negotiating with Representative of Bowles, still having trouble contacting someone with authority from Long John Silver's. So if worse comes to worse, we'll proceed to try to acquire these properties, these slivers. through eminent domain. And we'll keep working with the property owners, trying to reach agreements.
Okay,
Questions?
No.
no question, I'd make I'd move to approve ordinance S-17-04 for first reading.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve ordinance number S-17-04 for first reading. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
Item number 10, action to set a public hearing for purpose of amending the 2017 budget. I'll make a motion to approve this.
Okay, and I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to set a public hearing for Tuesday, December 21st, 6:30 PM in the Senior Citizen Center for the purpose of amending the 2017 budget. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Is that the same night as the meeting? Is that one of the meetings?
Next meeting.
Okay, good, thanks.
We need to amend that, though. You have Tuesday, December 21st. Isn't that Thursday?
Should be Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
That's what I
Well,
just pulled up my calendar real quick.
and that's
Yeah,
gonna be
next
our-
The
next Thursday,
meeting.
yeah.
Thank you.
We moved that because of
Right, okay, good
holidays,
catch.
Christmas,
I
yep.
get a little credit on that one.
Yeah. City managers report.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'll just kind of start off a little bit on the buildings, and as Commissioner Taylor alluded to, we did have the walkthrough of the Emergency Services Building, and everything is moving along well. They're scheduling final cleanup the end of this week. We have owners training for all the systems on the 19th. The fire suppression systems, just a walk through the building and make sure that we're understanding all the different aspects of that. And kind of the one thing that I want to make sure that we're good with, we're recommending a ribbon cutting and open house for Friday, January 5th. We're looking at doing that at 2 o'clock to do the ribbon cutting, but then have an open house for the public to come through 6 o'clock or so in the evening so
I
that
got a
people
question
can.
about that. Where all you're gonna let them walk through at?
It will be, you'll have access to the entirety of the building. This will be before we occupy it, and before it becomes sensitive area.
I would kind of like them to see certain areas off limits. I don't think everybody needs to know where everything's at for safety reasons, kind of.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Specifically, what are you?
Well,
are
the
you
jail
concerned?
cell area and stuff like that, maybe. Just
Well, that's the best part.
It may be, but I'm just thinking differently, I guess.
That's what everybody wants to see, and that's what some of these kids need to see, and people need to see, adults, whatever. I respectfully disagree, but it's open for discussion. What do you other guys think about that?
I respect what he's saying. Maybe we could ask Chief Bromley his opinion.
Okay.
And if he thinks it's
Well,
ultimately, he would.
He's kind of already weighed in on it. That was, his opinion was to have it early on before we occupy the building so that it could be open, all the areas could be open, because once we occupy the building, then it will be locked down and, and not for public viewing. So,
I think, personally, I think it would be good for people to see the jail area is, specifically we're talking about that, it's pretty impressive. There was a lot of money spent on the building, and if they see, all the benefits of the building, I think it kind of sells the whole.
Now, I will say there is one area that I believe will not be available, and that'll be evidence, because
That's what I was gonna ask
I believe
about that
that
one.
it will be we will start relocating some evidence to that area, to that secured area. So that, and other than just being a room of shells and stuff, it will not have public access.
Probably I think that's a good idea. And I'm not opposed to the jail area. I mean, I think it's.
So whatever your, consensus is, we'll follow along with it, whatever you decide.
I assume you're going to do like tours, right? I mean, it's not going to be just a free-for-all. People can come in and walk through it as they please.
We're kind of trying to figure out the logistics of it. It's a little bit hard to commit staff and know that staff will be there to take guided tours.
Right.
But we do anticipate stationing people throughout some of those areas, and making certain that, you're just doing a casual walkthrough and then,
Right.
and you're out. Obviously with both departments, they're there to respond to calls, or or the possibility they would have to respond to a call. But we are going to station it with people as much as is possible.
Okay, this is on Friday, right?
Yes, Friday, January 5th.
Okay.
And like I said, 2 o'clock was our idea for the ceremony, and it won't be anything as elaborate as the groundbreaking, just a ribbon cutting, and then open the building up to let people see what is there.
Yep. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think people need to get in there and see what we did, or what they paid for.
Right.
They need to be able to get in there and see.
They're paying for, right.
Right. So.
Deputy, what do you think about people seeing the jail? Just out of curiosity, being that
I think you ought to. The citizens.
you're in that business.
First of all, this is the citizens' building, not the city's building. They ought to be able to see it. Second of all, we spend a lot of money on a jail, and people ought to be able to see it, because 99% of the population of Coffeyville is never going to see it unless they walk through it.
Might be their last opportunity. I mean,
So the thing is that if you don't allow people to go through there on this one opportunity, then the only other way they're probably going to see it is if they go to jail. And most of the people are not going to go to jail. So I think this is a prime opportunity. I think it's important that the people get to see what they participated in and where their money's going. It's no different than taking a tour of the electric generation plant. So.
Right. Okay. Well, good enough.
As long as there's not any problems, I'd be willing to donate my time to be inside there as one of the staff members who are a problem. I'd be willing to be in there just to be at some staging point, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say it's on a Friday. If we did it on a Saturday, you could get more volunteers. I mean, I do see some risk in people going through there, something happening, some kind of vandalism. There's always risk in just people running through, and that's kind of a maze walking through there, all these different halls and doors, and I doubt if anything would happen, but it is going to, and I thought it might be kind of neat to have the staff that's going to be in there, one in each room, that way they could kind of keep an eye on it. And I'd volunteer that day to help too. I mean,
Well, like I said, I'd be hesitant to say that we'd have full staff full time. Obviously, we're going to have people on patrol. We're going to have other things that are taking place, but we'll have personnel there to make certain that people aren't.
Well, it's a good opportunity to educate the people on what's going on.
And
because I got a good education the other night, and I think it'll bring a lot of people out, and I think you're going to have quite a few people there.
I would hope so. I would hope there'd be a lot of.
We do need to be prepared for it with people and staff, because there's a lot of crooks and crannies in that hole, in hidey spots, and I do see just a touch of risk there, and we need to be prepared for it. However, so.
Okay. Well, with your permission, we'll plan in this direction, and we'll start making that public besides what we just did.
Right.
Yep. I think I'm good with it.
Couple more things as far as moving and how that's playing out. The next gen 911 system will start being installed on the 27th. However, then the trainer doesn't come back until the week of January 9th, like 9th, 10th, and 11th for different staff trainings. That's when dispatch can officially get moved over to that facility. So as we're internally, we're coordinating when those move dates can be. A lot of factors are playing into this, not only just the 911 system and things like that. Furniture delivery has been pushed back a few days on a couple areas, so that started putting the move for that building in conflict with a potential move for City Hall. And physically, we just can't get it all done at one time. So as we start to work around those things in emergency services, we're also being mindful of what has to happen in City Hall, from working around billing dates, utility payments, those types of things, so that we'd be able to close down customer service to make that move. We have the IT side of things, which is a large hub that affects many things. It's not just flipping a switch and turning the next one on. We're going to experience, a long-term outage, 4 to 6 hours. I don't know. I hate to put that number on Chris and his staff, but it will be, an extensive outage that we'll have to plan for, not only with communications, but also in the electric department, in the power plant, as we make some of these switchovers. We'll have to be prepared to man the new generation plant or start it in a different way than we currently do, because we won't have SCADA systems and those things available. So it's unfortunately, it's not just as simple as pick up and move things in. So we're coordinating with that, trying to best plan around all the different aspects. So we envision around that first full week of January, second full week, to get moved in and trained on emergency services, and then as soon as humanly possible after that, we will be moving in City Hall. So that's probably mid to late January as it's looking. Like I said, we're wanting to move in administration offices first, get them set up, and then move customer service secondly, and that's going to take a little tweaking around our utility billing cycles and things like that. So we've had some initial meetings. We're scheduled to have another meeting Friday internally to try to really pinpoint some exact move dates for that.
So now, who's going to do the moving?
How's
that going to work? The physical work.
We have contracted with a mover to assist in some of these areas, similar to what we did when we moved out of the facilities. Now, anything IT, computer related, is getting moved by our IT staff. Of course, we're having furniture delivered to the site, so that will be, the majority of that will be handled. We still have some filing cabinets. We still have things that are in storage. We have boxes of papers and that type of stuff that we've contracted with a moving company to assist with that. The beds in the fire department, the weight equipment. We believe that it's a minimal cost that we're prepared to cover. Then we're not susceptible to workman comp, things like that. And we just think that couple of days total, full days of moving is what we anticipate. And we're working with that company to best coordinate what those days would be. We have some in storage at the golf course. We have, I think, 4 cart sheds full of things that are in storage that need to be relocated back to City Hall, some things like that, on top of the things that we are using currently.
So you've already contracted for that?
Yes. And we just took, not a bid process, but got a quoted process from different movers.
Rates, probably rates.
Yes. And we're utilizing it an hourly rate. Because of the fashion we're moving, we don't have, you can't just come look at our office and know how much is going back, because not everything will go back to City Hall.
You don't have a defined scope of work.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, yeah.
Yep. And what's on the flip side of that is when you move out of these temporary 4-year trailers, what are we doing with those?
I want to talk with Dr. Correll. Him and I have had some initial discussions that he didn't believe that they would be utilized, and we had said that we would remove those trailers. Before we commit to that, I want to visit with him again to make certain that he doesn't have any short-term use for them or something like that would require them to stay. I anticipate that we'll remove them, but I also want to coordinate with him to do that either after school has gone, after the ELC has closed down for the summer, or possibly if we could coordinate a long 4-day weekend or something. I would just prefer not to have demolition occurring while the little kids are there on campus.
Good idea.
Now, those were moved in there, right?
I don't know, that predates me, so.
You might be able to get, someone might move them for them.
And we're considering that. I don't think they'll withstand a move. They're not in good shape, but we could definitely explore someone having them for the cost of removal, as is. But like I said, they're not in good physical shape. I don't know if they would withstand a move or not.
Okay, good.
So, just a few other things I want to touch on. South Walnut Crossing, we're understanding that the railroad has maybe a little bit of a redesign that may delay them a couple of days. Obviously, we've had to detour traffic, and our normal detour brings traffic down 14th Street and then up Willow. However, we're also right in the middle of the Acme Street project, and 14th Street is scheduled to be torn up almost immediately. So because of that, we've had to detour traffic down Eldridge and then up Willow. It has created huge congestion problems. It's created, obviously, all that traffic coming through a residential neighborhood created some issues for people that live in that area. We've worked, we've changed the detour, tweaked it a couple of times to try to alleviate some of the traffic problems. Honestly, it's had minimal effect on it. There's still a lot of traffic here. There was several thousand trucks a day's time, 24 hours a day. We're visiting with the railroad, and we didn't get a final decision by the time we got here tonight. But we are looking at suspending the Acme project, shutting it down until the railroad crossing is completed and the highway's back open.
That makes sense.
And then we'll change the detour to come back down 14th Street. We'll let the truck traffic tear it up, and then we'll come in behind them and rebuild it. It's just, like I said, we're coordinating a couple of things. We've spoken with Jeff Graham Construction, who is the lead contractor on the Acme project, and how it would affect his timing and mobilization and things like that. So depending on how that would go, that project may not resume until spring, when it's closer time to do asphalt, because we don't want him mobilizing twice if we can avoid that. So if we can do this without incurring additional expenses, and without too much additional hardship, we're gonna look to do that. So we should have an answer, I think, by tomorrow, next day at the latest, and then we'll, there are some processes we have to go through with KDOT, because this is KDOT is funding part of that Acme Street project. So we have some paperwork, a little bit of hoops, but we'll look to, our belief is we'll shut that project down, redivert traffic away from the residential neighborhoods, and try to take care of that issue.
Sounds a little messy and a little busy.
It is. You know, we have nothing but good intentions. That is a truck route that's available to us, but things don't always work as well as, you know, they look on paper. So we're trying to be sensitive to the citizens and what they're experiencing, yet also protecting the city's interests as well.
So 169 still deterred, 169? I mean, I should know, but I've been running 175 lately for some reason. What's the 169 deterred now?
Yeah, it detours down Eldridge over to Willow and then up.
Okay.
And the only other comment that I have about that is I have voiced their opinion on when we decided to fix the stoplight intersection at 11th and Patterson, Willow, or Walnut, where we tore up part of the road and made it one lane from each direction during all this other project. So we've added congestion to more congestion.
Well,
because I can tell you, I pulled up at that stop sign, that stoplight, on Thursday or Friday of last week. When I pulled up, I bet there was 10 semis in front of me, and I was 5 blocks back in single file line to get through there.
And the semis are having a hard time negotiating
But part of that,
as well.
part of the reasoning for that, it was strategic that we did it that way so that.
One time.
Yeah, so the way exactly, one time.
Yep.
And it made it safer for our workers in that area.
Do we have a timeline to have that wrapped up, that portion of it?
And that's the next part. It is done. We have a cure time on the concrete.
Yep, that's kind of what I figured.
And then it'll be, but the work itself is complete.
So,
The inside lanes are done, then we'll move to the outside after the cure time.
Okay, so I kind of misspoke a little bit.
Okay.
The inside lanes.
So we're half done.
Half done, yeah.
So what are we,
slow curing time.
how much longer are we looking at? Are we looking
We'll
to,
open up the inside lanes. We'll switch our traffic control next Monday.
okay,
We'll open up the inside lanes, and we have a repair to do on the outside eastbound lane.
okay.
And then we'll have a 7-day cure after we get it busted out for it, and we'll be done in that area.
So probably 2 weeks,
Yes.
2 more weeks? Okay.
If we aren't able to postpone the Acme project, what kind of overlap are we looking at? You see what I'm getting at?
Overlap in what?
Overlap in Acme project and railroad going on at the same time.
We will look for, we'll wait until the railroad is done and 169 is opened back up.
If you postpone. If we can't postpone, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're scheduled, I believe, next week to tear up 14th Street.
Okay. And how long on the railroad crossing? Do we know?
They're telling us a month.
Okay.
Obviously, there's factors that play into that, and like I said, we're hearing that maybe they have delayed a little bit because they've had a redesign, but but they're saying that's only a couple of day delay. But we don't have a lot of control over on what the railroad does.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that, I'm just.
There'd be an overlap for the next 3 weeks anyway.
Because what are we, a week and a half into that actual work on the railroad tracks?
Yeah, approximately, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, unfortunately, the weather looks good for an extended period, so
Yep.
That shouldn't be a huge concern. Wanted to update you about the fence enclosure around the trash cans on the 10th Street parking. We ended up, after looking at costs, we ended up contracting with Midwest Fencing to have that work done. Because of the location of some gas lines in there, we're had to modify some of the posts. We did decide to go with chain link, and it'll have a screening material in it, so it'll resemble other things in around that area. That material and everything is supposed to be on site this week, so we are moving forward. But after we looked at the cost of it, we decided that it'd be more practical to go ahead and have that done. And we have a lot of projects that city crews are trying to finalize now.
Right.
I've sent a request to the Attorney General's office to host COMA-CORA training for our region here at Coffeyville. They're often looking for different host sites. One of the discussions we've had with the city, county, this collaboration meetings we've had is to try to lure more of those trainings down to this region. And so I have not heard a response from them, but obviously with new commission coming on and changes around it, if we can get some of that training here, they'd come down and do that. As long as we just host it and we just have a site, that's the only expense that we would incur. But then we could it'd also be open to the rest of Montgomery County or neighboring counties to bring their officials in. So
yeah, they bring people in from quite a ways.
Right.
Do we have a site in mind if it's approved?
If it's approved, I'd like to do it at City Hall because it would not be immediate. We would have City Hall open in time for this training.
It takes quite a bit of room.
Well,
which room you talking about?
The commission room.
I don't think that's big enough. Man, they had, one I went to, they had quite a few people.
The one I went to, it was big, it'd be big enough, but it just depends on the group, I guess.
You could put a limit to the,
We just have
here
to
it
see
is.
what they're expecting.
And we could visit with them. We also we'll have the new training room at the police and fire station that could be utilized, but we would find a site big enough to hold whatever they would prefer.
This room would be big enough. This room, but
Right.
this is twice as big as that, our new meeting room, isn't it?
Our new meeting room's designed in seating style to hold 53 seats, so.
Is it that many?
That's.
Maybe I'm off a little bit. I didn't think it was that big. Okay, we'll figure it out.
We're trying to get negotiations wrapped up. Believe we have a tentative agreement with the FOP. I will be sending you red line versions of everything we've done so that you can review them before you have to review them in their entirety before you have to vote on them. IUOE, I meet again Friday with them because of the timing of when their meetings occur and stuff. If we can get an agreement hammered out here shortly, we'll probably still won't act on it until after the first of the year, but we can make it retroactive to the first year. So there's, but we're getting closer on that. Update on some of the water leaks. I told you we were going to be working pretty heavy on 8th Street to find the reoccurring leak there by the feed and farm. We did find a split in the pipe, and then apparently that's not all of it. We're going to be replacing, to start with, about 250 feet of pipe along that stretch right there. Then we have another mystery source, corner of 8th and 8th and Buckeye. I'm sorry, right there at customer service, across the street from customer service, that we're not certain is city water. It may be water coming through a gas line, but we have a constant flow there now. So we got our staff out chasing ghosts, kind of is what it seems like. But
doesn't sound good, does it?
No, but they've already begun to make the cuts in the saw cutting those areas. So we will see quite a bit of work going on right there along feed and farm here in the next week to 10 days time frame, something like that. just a plug, we're going to have Shop with the Cop next Wednesday, the 20th, at Walmart. That's a great event for the Boys and Girls Club, and of course, our fire and police departments are active in that. And then, like we already know, the commission meeting, our next commission meeting will be moved to Thursday, the 21st. Same time.
Yep. All right. At this time, we'll take comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Don't everybody jump up at once.
Doesn't look like we got anybody.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the comments from the commissioners and staff. I know Jim has a plug, so.
And which one, the city?
Yeah,
You said
Well,
you did.
said
Yeah.
you did anyway.
Yeah, you mean the new building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, it's really nice. It's a very nice facility. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get to see it. I was really impressed with the jail, the new doors, and how all that worked in Quinn. And Fire Chief did a great job, demonstrated it. Nice shop, the vacuum, the exhaust system for the fire trucks, that's going to be really nice. Very nice facility. So, you know, I'm hoping a lot of the citizens will take the opportunity to go see it. I think it'll be great for the kids and everybody to see, you know. And the kids are welcome too. I mean, on Friday, I think it's a great opportunity to see it. I was very impressed with it. So that's all.
Have we heard anything new on the signal from KDHE?
No, I actually talked with Brian Gower yesterday to make sure that he'd gotten the request forwarded on through KDOT channels to get the gap study information. He says he has. He says he has one person who does that work, and so it's not a real timely thing. But we are on the list to get him here and to get new data that will reflect higher, more. Trying to think of the word that I want to use. Peak traffic times. Their original study was calculating the traffic gap from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Well, yeah, that could be an issue.
Yeah, and I think I had made mention at the last meeting that I took video of the area and the drive and sent that to them, so that they could better understand what was involved.
Still have our cameras up there. We could always let them just sit and watch it from about 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and see, or 2:30 to 5.
We could turn the camera a little bit
Yeah.
and send them the link.
Here you
to
go.
that.
This is how busy this road is right through here at these certain times. So.
And you know, I think he was understanding that maybe they didn't do the best job in the first study.
Sure.
But we are on the list to get back here.
Good.
We will. Again, it's not the most convenient, but till we're sure that we're safe, we'll look to exit out onto 10th Street.
Okay. Also, have we heard anything on the fire truck grant? I know it's been some time since we talked about that. You know, is that a dead subject period now?
Yeah.
I didn't remember seeing an update.
We did not receive the grant.
Okay. I knew it'd been some time since, I just did not know that. Is anyone else aware of that? Maybe I overlooked it. I just don't remember seeing or hearing anything on that subject.
I don't remember. I knew the last time we talked about it was very bleak.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking we was gonna get it. I remember that, but that's the last I remember.
The only other thing I have, and I know it's not the best time of the year to be fixing streets, but so as we're digging holes on our streets, let's take East 8th Street for example. So I drive that street every single morning, and if you're headed eastbound, halfway between the railroad tracks and the turnoff, there's a patch that's almost the whole width of one lane of road. and I'm not saying it has to be fixed, but we should review those until we
We,
can get them, because they are starting, the gravel gets pushed out of them, and they start getting pretty rough, and
Something
people are
that-
driving in
yeah.
other lanes to go around them.
Something that I could have mentioned, and I didn't have it on my list. Crews are going around saw cutting some of those now. We will, because just have not been able to get asphalt. It's not the time for asphalt now.
I agree.
We will be patching those with concrete. And I can get you a list of what we anticipate, but like I said, crews, in fact, I saw one crew today saw cutting some of the utility patches. We'll
And
be
again,
fixing those with concrete.
I'm not faulting anyone, just asking the question, because I know that I've been approached in several different times, and I think that comment was even questioned to you or to Paul regarding
Right.
some damage to a vehicle, possibly.
Yes.
So, again, I don't necessarily think we have to go out and fix every one of these today, but we need to, until we can get them fixed, kind of review them to where we can fill them back in as they
And
start getting rough.
And they do, I know Public Service does go back over them, but you're right, we find some that
Yeah.
gets washed out and stuff.
Mhm.
And there's some that are just in areas that need to be done with something, and concrete's our only other,
Okay.
only
All right.
alternative.
I think that's the only thing I have. Only things I have.
Monday we talked, and I talked to you about a certain spot in town. It's a holiday season, and a lot of people have lights up. Well, a lot of us have memories of Candy Cane Lane, and it's kind of a weird place to get to. And I know a lot of people talk about it. I know this year they've really stepped up and went all out. When some in the past they have. I was just wondering if the city could put a spotlight on that a little bit and help people find it. And
Yeah, and I visited with Cindy about that, the same thing, and we will. I know Cindy has gotten out a little bit to take some photographs of some lights and stuff, but we will be getting that out, and we can. I don't know how we would best do it, but as you indicated, it's maybe a little bit out of the way. But everybody wouldn't know exactly where that is.
It's a little hard to find.
We'll do our best to direct people in the right way.
Isn't it Evergreen Street?
I think it is.
I believe you're right.
Sounds right.
I went there the other day with the kids and noticed it. And there's a sign there over by, I can't remember what street, over by Willow Street, off of Willow Street, there's and you pull that way, but that's the only little sign we have.
Okay.
Anything else from the commission?
Have we been paid for this building?
Yes. Yeah.
What-
You got,
What was your question?
you want to know if we got paid for this building?
Yes, we did. We went-
Cindy
I
attended the
went to
closing. Yeah.
yes. And that's been deposited.
Where was it, in what fund was it deposited?
What,
In what fund was it deposited?
in the building, the sale of buildings.
Stephanie, did you
Which
say?
one was it,
capital- You said the
Stephanie?
capital improvement? Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, I'll make a motion to move to adjourn to executive session to discuss an employee's performance evaluation pursuant to non-elected personnel, exception to reconvene in the senior center at 9 p.m. All in favor?
Can I make it 9:05?
9:05. All right.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.